I have a ritual where at least once in a week I go meet consumers. All successful products in any product category, it will always start with an unmet need of a consumer.
With Windsor, right, that it has actually helped MG beat past the bigger players who are there.
First response we got in September, October 24 just kind of blew our minds away.
When young boys in small towns buy motorcycles, they temper with the silencer. A car is not just about driving, it's also about keeping with the Joneses and showing the neighbors that I've got a big, better, noisier car. Hello and welcome. In 2026, India's electric vehicle or EV story is not just about early adopters, it's turning into a mass story. It's not merely about technological advancements or changes. Interestingly, more and more vehicles are being sold, and the reason being how the vehicles are being positioned, how the sellers are explaining them, and how the consumers are understanding them. There is another noteworthy fact that the significant share of EV sales is not coming from metro towns. It is coming from non-metro towns in the country. That means they are no more an urban phenomena. To discuss what's happening in the EV space in the country and how one vehicle, Windsor by MG Motors, is edging past its competitors who always had a head start, we spoke to Mr. Anurag Mehrotra. For a very long time, the conversations around electric vehicles, EVs, seem to be stuck in a loop. Charging, infrastructure, and several other factors. But something seems to have changed. And what really has changed, I have with me Anurag Mehrotra. What really happened? You know, suddenly, what I find very, as if somebody who loves cars and trucks, that EV has grabbed 25% market space. That's loyalty coming in.
Yeah.
At one time, people were doubtful. Now they are being loyal to EV.
Thank you. First of all, it's a privilege to talk to you. I think you're absolutely right. It is, like they say, the tipping point has been reached. If you look at all EV sales in India, in 2024, it was barely 2.5%. In 2025 calendar year, it's already crossed 5%. In fact, in certain months, it's been 6% of the total EV sales. So it's fantastic to see more and more people embrace EVs because honestly, whether you look at it from a national energy security point of view or look at it from an environment point of view or from simple unit economics of a household, irrespective of what reason you kind of look at an EV for, there is clearly an evidence now that consumers are getting more comfortable and getting more embracing of this new technology. Which is going to be beneficial for the country, it's going to be beneficial for the environment, and is going to be beneficial for your pocket at the end of the day as well.
The end of fears about range, improvement in infrastructure, or is it simply that confidence of the consumer coming in?
I think you've had the first early adopters coming in who have had a very good experience with the product, both in terms of what it does for the household savings that you incur. So typically 1500 kilometers if you're driving, you would end up spending about 10,000 odd rupees on fuel. But now on EVs, you spend barely 1500. So you are able to save almost 8,500 to 9,000 rupees per month. On top of that, if you buy a 20 lakh car, you get a 40% depreciation on the EV, but only a 15% depreciation on an ICE car. So that 25% delta itself is worth 5 lakh rupees. 5 lakh plus an annual saving of 1,20,000 multiplied by average tenure of 5 years that a person owns the car, which means your 20 lakh car is virtually worth only about 8 to 9 lakhs net of depreciation and fuel savings.
Do ordinary consumers do this kind of math?
Oh, you'll be surprised. There is a customer I met, Sudarshan Reddy in Bangalore, and he took out a sheet of pen and paper, a very conservative individual, loyal to a brand, one of the largest in the country, and very obsessed about the cost of ownership and fuel economy. He just happened to come to our store because he was passing by and he saw a beautiful looking store. He walked in and he did the quick math And he said, it is a no-brainer. I actually can, save so much money by buying an EV. And there's
Is it moving from a rational decision to an aspirational decision?
It is.
Because I think anything which becomes part of aspirations does better.
That's right. I think you are spot on. Like I said, there are different consumer cohorts. Some buy it for the utility that it offers. Some buy it for the unit economics that it offers. But a majority of people buy it because it is the right thing to do, both in terms of the environment and also in terms of national energy security. I mean, when they are looking at the future is not going to be fossil fuels. The future will essentially be around new energy. So whether it's EVs or hybrids, that really is the future. And they want to bet on a technology that is going to be around for a longer period of time.
Mm-hmm. So it's not a supply side shift, it's a mindset shift.
It's a huge mindset shift. I think people earlier had anxiety about range, buyback plans. Will I be able to sell the car after 3 to 5 years? And so what we did around the Windsor launch, we went to a whiteboard. You can think about the conference room and a whiteboard, and we started writing down, if you are a consumer, what issues are you likely to face? Buyback nahi hoga, price of EV is going to be a little bit higher. Is there any other resale that I can get for the car? So we started financing kaise hogi. So we started listing down every one of those elements. And then we said, okay, in an ideal world, what is the mitigation plan that I can offer to you? So for example, people came back and said, you know what, there isn't enough data to confirm the resale value of a EV car. We said, no problem, we will give you guaranteed buyback. So you buy a Windsor, with 3 years, you get 50 to 60% guaranteed buyback. You don't have to worry about anything. Second, they said, you know what, the range anxiety is there. We said, no problem. We set up over 1,000 chargers on our own accord. We also aggregated all the chargers that exist in the country are aggregated on our app called eHub. So today it is the largest charging aggregator app that exists with over 20,000 chargers on it. So whether you're traveling to your Bhutan trip or you're traveling to Ladakh, you can just plot it and it'll tell you all the chargers that you will see along the way. Mm-hmm. So irrespective of what your concern is, we said, okay, we will ensure we address it. And honestly speaking, it is not just us. All OEMs have come together to ensure that any of these issues that are being in the minds of consumers from, which is holding them back from embracing this spectacular technology is getting addressed.
What I also find interesting is the numbers are not coming from big typical urban centers. It is the smaller towns, what we used to call mufassil towns. People think where environmental awareness might not be the first benchmark for picking up a car. But those people switching to EV, what reason do you see that?
It's a fantastic point. I think when you look at the Windsor sales, over half of our sales are outside of Tier 1 cities.
Tier 1 cities.
And that tells you that the adoption is not secular to metros alone. It is not a metro phenomena. And when I go and look at a city like Kottayam, right, a small town in Kerala, beautiful country, beautiful state, Kottayam has a EV penetration of 10%. Country is at 4.5%, Kottayam is at 10%. You go and talk to consumers there, they tell you, hey, of course it is for environment and energy protection, but it is mostly also because the unit economics makes a lot of sense for us. And the cars look beautiful. I mean, you step inside the car, it's got technology which is very refreshing, very intuitive. You sit in the rear seat, it is so comfortable. And not intimidating, right? So it gives a chance for consumers to get exposed to technology in a very intuitive manner, get comfortable in a car that is very spacious. And that really is the single line brief that was also given to the planners so that we could deliver something that consumers in India would love and want.
You see, let's talk Windsor. Because this is one vehicle which is not doing well. It is actually reshaping the market. And it is what we can call cracking the market. What did MG understand? What did it do with Windsor right that it has actually helped MG beat past the bigger players who were there, had the early user advantage?
Yeah, I think it starts with the planning exercise. So our team spent a lot of time with consumers, and when we spoke to consumers, they said a few things to us. One, Space is very important for an Indian consumer because they usually travel with their families. And when we travel with families, there is significant amount of luggage that we carry as well. So the amount of space that they needed was very important. Second thing that they told us is that they are starting to spend more time on the road. You've traveled from Noida. You told me the amount of time you spend traveling to Gurgaon. So people are spending a lot of time on the road. So they want the car to be comfortable. Third, they also said that technology is very important. India is adopting technology at a very fast clip rate. We are usually the early adopters for anything new in tech. So technology, which is going to make my life simpler, became a very important ingredient also as we were planning for the Windsor. Fourth thing that we learned from consumers is we are very value conscious. Irrespective of whether you buy a 7 lakh car or a 70 lakh car, Indian consumers will always seek a tremendous amount of value in their cars. So when you put all that together, it became the sort of a brief for our planning team to go and sit with the engineering team and say, hey, is there a product that can be extremely spacious? Is there a product that can have technology that is very intuitive and simplifies lives? Is there a way I can create comfort in the front and the rear seat because it reclines 125 degrees? Is there comfort that I can give them because they're traveling more a number of hours on the road? And finally, can it be done in a certain price point? Because that was very, very important. And that's when the engineering team came back and spoke about, hey, here is a product that we can construct, which is the Windsor. And that is the genesis of the product, which is deep consumer insight. And part of the reason also the success has been because we've been able to localize at a very fast rate. We've been localizing the car and ensuring that it is kind of made in India, so to speak. Indigenizing it. And that has allowed for even the cost of ownership to be brought down tremendously. So whichever way you look at it, it has been a spectacular success. It's the number one selling in EV in India.
I will come back to this point which you raised about Windsors being sold in non-metro towns. Now that's a strange contradiction because we see a shift from Marutis and smaller Maruti 800 and others to slightly more brawny vehicles. When people put in more money, they want that muscle to their car, but a spacious but slightly petite looking car on EV with people like noisy vehicles. When young boys in small towns buy motorcycles, they temper with the silencer so that it creates that noise, because a car is not just about driving, it's also about keeping with the Joneses and showing the neighbors that I've got a big, better, noisier car.
Yeah.
That's where the contradiction comes in. In small towns where the mindset is for a different kind of car, you are managing to sell these cars. Is there a certain other criteria that this car brings in? Like you said that we give value, people look at values, in which you're giving a car which lasts longer, but also you're giving great amount of comfort inside to sit in it.
Correct.
Because this is the margins which were cut earlier in car making in India.
Absolutely. I think it's been a surprise to say the least.
Yeah.
We had not anticipated that over 50% of our sales of Windsor will come from non-metros or non-tier 1 cities. And that was a big surprise. And when we spend time with the consumers, both in metro and outside, we realized that, India is not a homogeneous consumer cohort. There are so many consumers within a consumer cohort of India. And what we started realizing is that there are different profiles of people who are buying Windsor and for different applications or use cases that they may have. You have Dr. Janesh in Galleria, who in Gurgaon, he has bought it because he genuinely believes in doing the right thing for the environment. You have one of my friends, Amit, who stays where I do. He has bought it for the utility that it provides in terms of ease of driving and the space footprint that it occupies for him and the space to carry his goods. So there are different kinds of consumer cohorts who have bought the Windsor for different reasons. And the ability to bring a car that can serve so many different use cases itself is is an amazing thing that the planning and engineering team have been able to pull off.
It's very interesting that you actually remember the names of the people and the responses they have given, or the reasons why they are bought.
Yeah.
I think that must be helping you plot your cars.
Yeah, I think I have a ritual where at least once in a week I go meet consumers.
Really?
Yeah. So, and I insist on meeting them, spending hours. You will be amazed at what insights you can get when you sit down and talk to consumers. And they are so free and with the feedback that they will give you. I'll give you a simple example. One of the consumers I met, he owns a Windsor and he's told me, Anurag, the eHub app that we have, can it allow for, instead of it being only on the phone, can it be on the head unit of the car? And that way I don't need to look at my phone as I'm trying to navigate to the place. And he said, shit, yeah, that sounds like a pretty good intuitive thing, like the right thing to do. So we just got cracking on it and then we launched it now. And it's, so a lot of these suggestions.
So you mean to say that your charging map will now be available on the head?
On the head unit itself. Oh. So that makes it so intuitive for consumers. I mean, you would have thought that, hey, we should have thought of it. But the flip side is when you engage with consumers, you realize and get feedback that is just fascinating.
So what happened first? Was it the product which came first, or you thought of positioning first?
We actually, to be honest, it starts with understanding the consumers. What is the gap? What is the unmet need of the consumer today, right? If you look at typical EVs, what was happening, there were two bookends that existed. And that is the space that we went and sort of occupied with Windsor. Mm-hmm. The consumers were saying, hey, on one end, I have a sub 4 meter EV that exists, and which is kind of cramped in a way for my daily usage. And that comes at a certain price point. But on the other end of the spectrum are larger cars, 4.4, 4.5 meter and above, and they are over 20 lakhs, right? Is there a way I can get the comfort of a larger car or the space of the larger car, but at a price point which is close to a sub 4 meter sort of a car? We said, okay, that's interesting. So we started to double click and meet consumers who were. First response we got in September, October 24 just kind of blew our minds away. I think we had not anticipated this level of response for consumers.
Did you consciously try to ease the consumers' EV decision making?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, Windsor creating an appetite for the people instead of just you sending out a product.
Correct. Our battery is locally assembled and that entire line is run by women.
So why are they picking up Windsor compared to other companies, EVs by other companies, or even the one by MG? Why is Windsor topping all of them?
I think the reason Windsor is the number one selling EV in the country is simply because it answers for three or solves for three problems of the consumers.